Hello, traders. This is Dave from the SPY Super System Options Room and Text Alert Service. And tonight I'm going to just go a video. It's a fairly quick video. I'm going to do the SPY Super System trades of the day. Did a couple of trades this week that I wanted to highlight, and some of the other ones that we've done. Just kind of go over this particular methodology that we use. So kind of go over the criteria and go over the trades, entries, exits, etc. So again, thanks very much for watching the video, and let's get started. Again, this is the SPY Super System intraday trading. It's Compass Options. The Compass system has been kind of enhanced, and it's now called the SPY Super System, but it's the same software. First thing I have to do, of course, is the disclaimer. All signals and trading opportunities we provide are for educational and demonstration purposes only. Trading is very risky, so you should never trade with more money than you can afford to lose, and neither myself or Redline Trading are licensed financial advisors, so we won't be giving any financial advice. All right, this, by the way, is just kind of a graphic of the alert service that I have, where we alert out on the highest probability trade setups that we can find. It goes out on your phone, and they come pretty quickly. I typically get them from the time I send them out in about 5 or 6 minutes from the time that they're sent. And just kind of cover briefly in the trading room and on the alert service, we have a couple of rules that we trade by. First one is we trade the best and skip the rest. We just look for the very highest probability trade setups, and then we skip the rest of them. These trade setups, we'll go over the criteria that we use, but the main thing is that we're looking to trade with the institutions. When institutions are driving a trend in a trade, that's what we want to be. Second thing is our objective is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. This basically tells you to be patient. Don't be chasing trades that are not high probability. We don't care about making a lot of trades. We care about making money. So again, this is meant to reduce the number of trades that retail traders take. One of the biggest problems with retail traders and the biggest problems for their accounts is they overtrade. I mean, it's fairly simple. They get anxious. They can't sit and watch the market for a while. They feel like they have to have a trade on, and they end up making trades just to make trades. So again, our objective is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. Maintaining discipline is critical. This is to, once you have a strategy or strategies that you know work, all the strategies I use have an 85% win rate or more. You want the ones you want to stick with. You don't want to be trying to jump from strategies that we know work to some unknown strategies that haven't been tested or proven. So we just stick with the strategies that we use and remain patient. And again, try to keep traders from over trading. Wait for the trades to set up. Some days there aren't any. You just have to wait for the trades to set up. When the market's bad, you don't want to be trading much. When the market's good, you want to jump on them and push them. All right, so we need an edge as a profitable trader over other retail traders. What we've got is we have the SPY Super System software that we'll see some charts on those. We trade relative strength and relative weakness. This is not RSI. This is trading stocks that are outperforming the SPY or underperforming the SPY on the 5-minute chart. Stock SPY is moving sideways and down, and you've got a stock that's moving up, stacking green candles. You've got relative strength. Those are the ones you want to be in, relative strength and relative weakness, because if the market turns against the direction that it was going, if you've got stocks with relative strength or relative weakness, they're not going to get beat down as fast or as much. Right? We want to trade with the market trend if there is one, and we also want to buy near support and sell near resistance. This is really important. You'll see here on the SPY Super System when I go over it, we use the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and we use the 15 EMA. Those are our support and our resistance levels. We want to get into a trade as close to those as we possibly can, so that if the stock goes against us, if the trade goes against us, we're going to be able to get out with a really small loss. Okay. And just kind of, I cover this in all my webinars, but I just wanted to make a quick comment on this. This is what drives the market. These little marbles here, these are retail traders such as myself and most likely everybody else watching this. And it's important to understand that as retail traders, when we're in the market and these institutions, which is right here, if the institutions aren't in the trade in any significant way, then you're going to get a lot of chop and a lot of chaos. So you don't want to be trading when just the retail traders are in there. You want to be out of those trades. This is the institutions. This is banks such as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. These are the institutions. They have the money. They're what drives the market. They all also have algos, programs that are buy and sell stocks and options. About 80% of the volume or even more is algos that do this. And these algos are coming from the institutions. Now, the institutions also include pension funds, and they also include hedge funds, and they include mutual funds. All of those big funds have billions and billions of dollars to invest and trade, and those are the folks that move the market. So what we're looking for with our SPY super system is to identify when the institutions are in a trade and when they're not. And we want to be in there when they are and not in there when they're not. Okay, the compass system or the SPY super system, it identifies the highest probability trade setups while sidestepping setups that look good but will fail more often than they succeed. And this is basically just identifying when the institutions are in the trade and when they're not, and taking the trades when the institutions are in there. It does identify when institutions are driving the move and when they're not. And the software actually analyzes fairly complex trading data and displays the results in easily identifiable visual format. This is really important because it's easy to see on the chart if the institutions are in there or not, but you have to understand how much data is being crunched to get to that level. And the visual element makes it possible for even new traders to find high probability trade setups because you're just looking at colors. All right, now the indicators that we use for the SPY super system, and I want to make sure you understand the SPY super system methodology that we use. The SPY super system is a piece of software, but the SPY super system methodology is a strategy, a method that we trade, and we trade them on the indexes, the SPYs, the Qs, the IWM. You can use it on the SPX. You can use it on the ES. You can use it on the futures for the ES or the NQ. You can use the leveraged Qs like SQQQ or TQQQ. You can trade any of those, but I'm just for simplicity, I'm going to say we're trading the SPY, the Q, and the IWM. Those are what we'll be trading. The thing we look for on our SPY super system software, the indicator we look for is the current time frame momentum. This is the key one that we will use. We'll be looking for color changes. We want to make sure it's bullish and make sure it's bearish. The VWAP is an important support resistance level, so we use that. Price above the VWAP for longs, price below the VWAP for shorts. That's volume weighted average price. All the institutions use this for their entries and exits from trades. And we also use the 15 EMA of an EMA. It's a smooth EMA, and that is a support resistance level that we use. Once the price gets too far away from the VWAP, then we can use the 15 EMA as our support and resistance level for entries and exits. And there'll be a pivot point on the chart as well. It's a kind of a white line. That does offer support and resistance. I don't use it as an entry, but I will be aware of it if it's getting in the way of the trade to limit my profitability. All right, so those are the indicators that we use. Now, momentum is the key one we're using here. Momentum is critical in determining if institutions are in a trade. And a lot of traders, I think, misunderstand what constitutes momentum. What is it really? Just kind of a quick graph here of momentum. Just because stocks are putting the green candles in or the price is moving up, it doesn't mean that they have momentum. What we're looking for is we're looking for a way to determine if institutions are in this. And what we look for is, this is a candlestick right here. Here's the open here, here's the high, and here's the close. What you're looking for is candles, what momentum is measuring is as you go from one candle to another, the close of that candle is getting closer and closer to the high of that candle. All right, the price could be kind of going sideways, but it's getting closer and closer to the high of the candle. And on the downside, you can see the close is getting closer and closer to the low of the candle. So that would be momentum to the downside, right? So that's what's being measured by the momentum indicator. And on the SPY super system for like swing trades, we use current time frame momentum, but we also then add multi-time frame momentum and trend to make swing trades. But for what we're discussing tonight, which is the SPY super system, which is on 5-minute charts, we're interested in the current time frame momentum. Right, so the criteria setups that we're gonna talk about, and I'm gonna show you a bunch of charts with these things in here. What we want to do is we want to trade the strongest index on an up day and the weakest index on a down day. So if you're looking at the SPYs, the Qs, and IWM, and the SPY is up 1%, the Qs are up 1.5%, and say the IWM is up 0.5%, then initially what you want to do is trade the strongest index. So that would be the Qs. Now you want to make sure that when you take a trade like that, that you don't have any upside resistance that's too close to traded. You know, if it's close to the 200-day moving average on a daily chart, you would switch over probably to the SPY and not take the Qs because your upside potential is limited, right? And you're going to want to enter when the current momentum indicator changes from red or yellow to blue or green. Red and yellow is short, blue and green is long, right? Now it can change from red or yellow to blue or green, and that could be an entrance candle, or it can already could be blue or green for a long. It may have turned that color several candles before, but it needs to be blue or green for long, red or yellow for short. And as the colors change, it tells you that you're going from institutions not being in the trade to institutions being in the trade. Okay, and again, when the current momentum indicator changes from blue or green to red or yellow, that would be short. If you're going long the index, it should be up for the day. Typically, this is a rule we want to stick by. We can take counter trend trades in this, but for the trending trade, if you're going long on the Qs, for example, you want the Qs to be green for the day. That's going to give you the highest probability of success. We can trade counter trend. We can trade Qs to the upside if they're red for the day, if the setup is correct. And same thing on the short. We should be trading the index that's the weakest for the day. But again, you can take counter trend trades. And again, the stock price should be above the VWAP for long and below the VWAP for short. Right, so those are the criteria that we're using for these SPY super system trades that I'm going to go over. The best entry setups is basically the same as what we talked about here. Trade the strongest index on an up day and the weakest index in a down day. Make sure your indicators are red or yellow for long for short and blue or green for long. And when the momentum indicators change color, you want to be aware of that and look at it and see if perhaps you're breaking up through the VWAP. Okay, and again, go long for the index should be up for the day, go short the index should be down for the day, right? So basically that's the same thing as the criteria. Now, there are going to be a couple of setups for longs and for shorts that we'll be looking at. Two high probability setups that should be traded for longs. Again, we want to trade the bullish index, the strongest bullish index, as long as there's no overhead resistance that's too close. The price should be moving up through the VWAP or coming down to the VWAP and bouncing back up off of it. So in other words, be moving through it or bouncing off of it after a pullback. So you'd be basically doing a reversal back into the original trend. The current momentum indicator must be blue or green to go long, and you can use a Heikin-Ashi reversal candle to add to the probability, and I use these all the time. The reason Heikin-Ashi candles are so useful is they're made up of two candles. So when you get a Heikin-Ashi reversal, for example, a downtrend to an uptrend, that one candle is actually two candles, which means you basically have a built-in confirmation that the stock is reversing back into the original trend if the Heikin-Ashi candle gives you a reversal. And again, you can also trade the strongest bullish index off of the 15 EMA. In other words, if you're away from the VWAP, the price away from the VWAP, you can then use the 15 EMA for your support resistance level, and it will be treated the same way. The price should be moving up through the 15 EMA for long, or bouncing off the 15 EMA after pulling back to it. Okay, current momentum indicator must be blue or green, and again, Heikin-Ashi candles, the same as right up here to add to the probability. As the stock price reverses after coming down and bouncing back up again, you get a Heikin-Ashi candle that's reversing, showing you bouncing off the VWAP or coming up through the VWAP. Those are setups that you want to take, right? And the short side is basically exactly the same thing, except it's the opposite. You want to trade the weakest index for bearish. You want the price moving down through the VWAP or bouncing off the VWAP after a move up. So it comes up to the VWAP, turns around, and comes back down again below the VWAP, and the stock is bearish for the day. That would be your entry for a short, right? And the current momentum indicator must be yellow or red. Or if you're away from the VWAP, you can use the 15 EMA for support or resistance, and the stock price should be bouncing off of it, or it should be going up to it and reversing back down again. And again, current momentum indicator must be yellow or red for shorts. Right, so those are the setups for shorts and longs. This is the SPY Super System software. It looks a little different now, as I'll show you in a minute. We don't really use this. I don't use this indicator anymore. But as busy as this looks, I want you to look at a couple of things here. This is the current time frame momentum right here. This particular line is the current time frame momentum, and this is what we look for to be blue or green for long, red or yellow for short. So the only thing you're looking for in a SPY super system trade is you're looking at this candle. Notice it went from red to blue right here. Selling, institutions buying. You're looking at the VWAP right here, the pink line. See where the pink line is? And the 15 is the 15 right here. Now our entry into this particular trade was right here, right? Because you notice it went from selling to buying, red to blue, right? Current time frame momentum is now blue. Institutions are buying it. It's breaking above the VWAP and the 15 EMA right there on that candlestick. Now this pink arrow here is something that the SPY Super System software puts on the candles when they're breaking out of compression, and it gives you some added confidence that this trade should be taken. But this is where we took this trade. This was back in August, but I wanted to show you the chart here. And again, we took this one and we noticed that it had to stay above the VWAP, and then it had to stay above the 15. And we rode this thing up for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And it came up here, and now you see we're starting to put in doji candles right here. So that was the exit right there. We exited as it starts to lose momentum. Still green, you can see the current time frame momentum still green, but above the VWAP and above the 15. So that was a nice one. That was $220 profit per contract. That's a little high. Usually you don't get that much out of these trades unless you get a nice trending day. But in choppy markets, most of them are going to be more like $70 to $120, $150 a contract would be normal, right? But that kind of shows you the system. Now, this is what the newest platform looks like, or the newest SPY Super System software looks like. You notice I've gotten rid of the bottom line, which was it was money flow, a derivation of money flow, and I put the actual oscillator on there that's reflected here, so that you can actually see how steep the trend is moving up, because this is really important. If it's moving up sharply, it's much more bullish, or it's moving down sharply, it's more bearish. But this was one we just took on the 25th of February. This was just a few days ago, and you can see here that we were already yellow, which was bearish, and we went to red bearish. But what I was looking for is I'm looking for compression, right? Look, I'm looking for a break below the 15. You see right here, this Heikinaichi, I'm sorry, this pop out of the box symbol right here. Now these are Heikinaichi candles, by the way. And see this flat top on the Heikinaichi candle right here? You get a wick and a tail, flat top. That's a Heikinaichi reversal candle. That tells you that this candle is beginning a trend to the downside. Now this was a really quick trade because it was a very choppy day. But we get into this thing right here, and I get out right here on this particular candle. We basically put a sell order in, and we took profits as the stock flushed down and get out for $90 profit per contract. Very quick trades. In some of the trades on choppy days, this is what you're going to see. All right, very quick type trades. And again, these were Heikinaichi candles. All right, and you could have actually taken this long, by the way. You notice how it went here, it went to green, from yellow to green as the stock broke above the VWAP. You could have taken it long right here. I didn't, but you could have taken it long right here and rode it up for 4 or 5 candles. Now this is the same trade on the I have 2 different templates that you have if you buy the software. This is 2 templates. You get this template here, and for people who just want to trade the SPY Super Systems, or that's what they're focused on, this is a template that just shows the current time frame momentum. It shows the VWAP, it shows the 15 EMA, and you pop out of the box signals right here for breaking out of compression. But this is the basic indicators you need to trade the SPY Super System trades. And this is the same as this. The information is the same. You can see we get red, and we get the pop out of the box, and it's coming down below the 15. You can see the same thing right here. Here's where we take it. But this is just showing the current time frame momentum. All right, so that's another one of the you can flip these back and forth on your Thinkorswim platform, which is where the SPY Super System is installed. A right line will install it on your right on your Thinkorswim platform. They'll look exactly like mine. You'll have this template and you'll have this template. You have them both. All right, so here's one we took. This was another one we took on 225. This was on SPY. You see this? You see we get red to blue here. So we had a bullish setup. And you can see the institutions were buying, and it went to green, but the stock was compressing. I was waiting for a break when I took this. I was waiting for a break above the VWAP. I was just riding along the VWAP. It was a very choppy day, and I wasn't going to commit to this until it got through the VWAP. It did right here with a Heikinatsu reversal candle. See the little tail on here? Little wicks and tails. This is a Heikinatsu reversal candle right here. So this is where we took it, and we rode this up, and we got $70 profit on it. Not an awful lot, but you see this price wasn't moving up really swiftly, but this is where we get out right here. And it was moving pretty sideways, but it got above the 15. That would have been my stop here, but this is where I get out right here when I started getting these doji candles right here, right? But that you can see again, current time frame momentum was bullish. It had been bullish and stayed bullish until it turned bearish over here. So that was the entrance. Even though it went blue here, I didn't buy it here because it was above the 15, but below the VWAP. It was stuck right in between. So I was waiting for a compression break, which I got right there. Okay, this was another one. This is again on the modified layout here. You can see the blue, the green. You see it's riding along the VWAP, the one we just saw. Here it is right here. This is the same one as we looked at right here. $70 profit. Heikinatsu reversal through the VWAP. You buy it here. There was no, you would get out if it broke down below the VWAP, which it didn't, and then you ride it out. And then when I start getting wicks and tails like this, I take profits. The day was very choppy. On days that are really choppy, you really have to take your profits pretty quickly. If you get a trending day, you can tend to stay in these trades a little bit longer. All right, this was one on 10-4. This is just another one to show you. This you can see we still had the old indicator down here on the bottom, but you can see current time frame momentum went from red to blue. Right, it was breaking above the VWAP right there. We take it right there on that candle, and we ride this thing up. And this thing worked really nicely. It stayed above the 15, stayed above the 15. You would have had to have the price drop, break below the 15 and close below the 15. It did not do that. Now, you probably get pretty impatient through here as it's just moving sideways, but it stayed above the 15, which was sloping up. And then we get a nice little pop on price, and this is where we get out right here. $180 a contract. That's a pretty big profit on that particular profit, that particular trade. Most of these I trade, between 2,000 and 4,000 personally per trade, but that's up to what everybody wants to trade. But that was the trade I took on that one. This was 823. This was a short, which we get in right here. See it breaking below the VWAP. Notice it was yellow, and then it went to red, and it stayed red all the way. I mean, it stayed red all through this whole portion of the chart, and it broke down below the VWAP. So I was short there, and I needed to stay above below the 15, which you see how it challenged the 15 a couple times, but never closed above it. It got above it, but came back down to it. It never closed above it, so you stay in the trade, and it pulled down. This was the pivot point, so I was watching it very closely as we approached the pivot point, but it didn't bounce off of there, so I stayed in the trade, and then I got a nice flush right here, and I exited. That was a pretty long trade, a big profit on that. These are not going to be common. You're going to get much smaller profits generally, but that was pretty nice. Again, this was on 823. This was another nice one, $150 profit. Again, red selling, blue buying. Current time frame momentum, that's what you're looking at. Here's a break above the VWAP in the 15 with a pop out of the box symbol, breaking compression. You ride this thing up, you ride it up, you ride it up. Not going very fast, but $150 a contract on the IWM is a lot. The IWM does not move as much, but you can see where you would get out right here. And again, it was nice move. Triple Q's here. This was a good one as well. You can see where I exited on this, got into this right here as it broke below the 15. See, it was broke below the VWAP, but I didn't get into it. I was waiting for a breakdown below the 15, and it broke the pivot point. So this is where I took it. And you notice it was red and yellow, so it was short. We were short. We took it here. This, by the way, is the 50 SMA, which I do not use on the 5-minute chart. It came down here, went sideways. It didn't close above the 15. I'm watching it and watching it, and then I get out right down here. It wasn't a big move here. $110 a contract, which was pretty good, but mostly it came off of that big red candle right there. Okay, this is another SPY Super System trade for 999. Just to point out some examples. And again, remember, we do have losing trades. Some of these will turn against you. You could have got in right here, and it could have turned around and broken back down below the VWAP, and then you would have had to take a loss on it. But on this particular one, it was green. Current time frame momentum is nice and green, breaking above the VWAP, so we take it right there. as we break above the VWAP, and then we ride this trade up. It's not a lot of momentum with this thing. You can see a lot of small candles. You get leery when you start getting small candles, and we get out right here on this red candle. All right. This was another one on 9.4, just so you can see these. I get in here, right here, as it broke below the VWAP in the 15. I don't think I caught it till right here, because see, this is green. I had to wait for it to turn yellow or red. It turned yellow right there. So I took this trade. I was watching it at the pivot point as it broke down below the pivot point, kept going down, and I get out right here on a nice trade. That was a nice profit trade as well. Some more on the SPY here. This was another good trade. Again, it broke here. And see the 15 right here, the little red line. It went blue right here, but I didn't take this trade until it actually broke above the VWAP. 15 was too close. I waited for the break above the VWAP. It was riding just along the VWAP, and it needed to close below the VWAP for me to get out of the trade. It did not. It moved below it, but it came right back up again, and I stayed in it, and I get out right here for another nice trade. All right, so those are just some examples of the charts of the trade that we take, and the structure of it, the criteria of it. It's been a very, very important, very effective system for us. It's important to understand that there's can be a lot of these in a day. Sometimes you can have 1, 2, 3 a day, sometimes 5 a day. Usually there's at least 1 or 2 trades a day. And the reason I did this was because the normal room, as far as we're taking high probability trades, we don't take a lot of trades because we're just looking for swing trades that could be all day intraday, or swing out for multiple days overnight, or out maybe as far as 3 weeks. So there's not an awful lot of those that set up. So we just take just a small number of those. So people are in the room. We're looking for some to trade. Obviously, people overtrade. So I decided that using the SPY Super System is a great way for people who want to trade intraday to take advantage of the SPY Super System software, identifying institutions and taking relatively quick trades off the 5-minute chart. All right. So this is the results we've had with it since July. It was 16-0. We started halfway through July. 2,000 invested in each trade, produced 2,596. August, we had 56 wins, 6 losses, 2 scratches. A lot of trades. That's why I say you could have a lot of trades if they set up. We didn't have very many trades in the room in August, but we had a lot of SPY Super System trades. 8201. September, 40 wins, 3 losses, 2 scratches, $7,100. October, 33 and 4. We're down the number of trades. The number of trades is just going to be what the market gives us. 2,000 invested, produced 4831. And again, it's important to understand with the SPY Super System methodology, when we're using the SPY Super System software, you're only going to have 1 of those trades on at a time. You stay in the trade till you get up. You don't have multiple of those trades going on. It's just 1 at a time. And they're going to be very short duration for the most part. 2, 3 candles up to maybe 6 or 8 candles, 5-minute candles. But but you've got to watch these. You have to manage them yourself. I let you know when the setups are occurring, and I'll let you know when I take them. But I'll let you know when the setups are taken. But each trader is responsible for entering and exit these themselves, because they're much too quick to try to post when to get in and when to get out, because they can move very quickly. All right, this was the November results. 54 and 5. 2,000 invested, produced $9,300. This was a pretty big month. These are my results, by the way. This is the trades that I took, assuming $2,000 invested in each trade. People in the room obviously are going to do, some are going to do better, some are going to do worse. I know people that have made quite a bit more than me, and then I think people that didn't have as much success as I did, because we're all managing our own trades. December, 69 and 15. That's quite a few losses. Again, you can get a lot of losses, but it still produced a huge amount. 10,450. And this particular strategy has a very high profit factor. It typically somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to about 6 on a profit factor. So, and in January, I just got that today. 63 and 11. A lot of trades. 2,000 invested in each trade, produced a little over $10,000 there as well. So nice trades in December and January. February, I haven't got the total results yet, but it was profit, but it was small profit. February was very, very choppy. If you've been trading in this market at all, you know how terrible February was to try to trade intraday. The market was chopping around. a lot of the SPY Super System trades only produce $40, $50 a contract, and we had some losses mixed in there. So February, it's green, but it's nothing like these $10,000 profits. But it was probably the lowest profit we've had. I don't know. It might have been as good as July, but it's nothing like the December and January ones. All right, so those are the results that we've had with the SPY Super System. That's the criteria we use. It's important to understand this criteria, and please stick with this criteria. All right, you're looking at your current time frame momentum, and you're looking at your VWAP and your 15 EMA. That's what you're looking for in these, as I showed you on these charts. There they are right there. Right, current time frame momentum, VWAP, 15 EMA. Those are your criteria. All right, so listen, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. And I think if you try this system, if you get the software, you'll have it. You'll have the current time, you'll have the SPY Super System setups that we talk about here. You'll have the indicators. If you don't, but you come into the room in the alert service, which you can also get subscriptions to. I keep the SPY Super System. I keep this up on the chart all day long. The room is open from market open to market close 5 days a week. So we're always looking at SPY Super System setups as well as other stocks for intraday trades and for swing trades. But I always have the SPY, the Qs, the IWM. I'm putting those up and taking them off, and putting them up and taking them off. So we're always watching for the setups, and then I'll alert when I see one of these setups. But one of the key things we're waiting for is we're waiting for the market to show us a trend if there is one. So typically I don't take any SPY Super System setups before about 10 o'clock. Wait for the first half hour or so to make sure the market's set up. All right. So again, thanks very much for watching the video. Look forward to seeing you in the room. I think you'll, if you try this methodology out, you'll be very, very impressed. All right. Have a great weekend.